Saturday, February 4, 2012. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and you are looking at quite possibly the world's first 8-cylinder Subaru Legacy Boxer. And yes, that is a joke. Yeah, not trying to fool anybody here, but interesting development. Those of you who have been following my videos know that back in October, the engine in my VW Vanagon quit on me, and I've been saving up for an engine swap, and just this week randomly came across an ad for this. Picked it up last night on my way home from work. It was local. This is a known good Vanagon engine. So in the coming weeks I'm actually going to be installing this in the van. I'm excited. I get to drive it again. I actually knew the seller already, and it is dirty. This is an engine that the seller actually is a conversion shop. I don't know if I should mention their name or not, but anyhow, they do engine conversions on the van, and they pulled this one. It drove into their shop running just fine, and they tested compression. They said compression was good. Came in running just fine, and they were actually going to use it for some experimentation and a future project, but they decided not to go ahead with that. So that being the case, they decided to sell the engine, and they sold it. They kind of priced it as a core, knowing that they didn't know the history, but they knew it did run well. So they can't, they obviously can't guarantee it or anything. But I figure for what I paid, which was really, really cheap, I can get the van running again. Now this is a 2.1 liter water boxer like the one already in the van. This one came out of an automatic, so I'm gonna have to swap over the flywheel and clutch. And the van this came from had air conditioning, so obviously I'm gonna remove the compressor. But looks like I have some extra spare parts here. I know I have a good alternator on my engine, which obviously wasn't hurt with the bottom end, so got my alternator, and for ease of installation I'm just going to swap over my power steering pump, save this for a spare. And I'm going to do some work on this before I install it, or as I install it, just the basics. I'm going to install a new water pump, because this obviously is unknown, and I just want a little peace of mind there. I'm going to transfer over all the hoses from my engine, because the hoses on my engine were all recently replaced. They're still pretty much like new, especially the new intake boots, because this is as dirty and cruddy an engine as I've seen. But supposedly, like I said, it's a good runner, and I'm not counting on this lasting forever. It could go 6 weeks, could go 6 years. I'm hoping for closer to 6 years, but this is just to keep me running while I continue saving for the engine swap. I mean, like I said, this was so cheap I couldn't pass it up, and I'm excited. And I got all the extras here. I got the full wiring harness and the air box there. So, and there's the coil down there. So, you know, a lot of nice little spare parts. So today's task, obviously for me, is to get the engine out of the Legacy here. The shop I bought it from, they had a cherry picker, and we just kind of slid it right in onto the cardboard. So I'm thinking that I may actually have to get a hand lifting this out. I'll probably lift it onto my flat-topped transmission jack right here, lower it to the ground, and then very quickly lift it onto a dolly. But before I do that, I gotta move the cars around and back the Legacy here up to the garage, because I think that'll make this easier. So yeah, the van's going to be on the road, and obviously I'm going to do full video documentation of the engine swap, so you can see how that goes. And like I said, I mean, this is impressive. I mean, it looks like the van here, or this engine, has a really nice solid exhaust system on it. I mean, it's got the engine carrier bar. I mean, this is really almost in bolt-up and start condition. It's quite impressive. So I am going to get the van running again for this spring. Okay, well, I have the engine out of the van now, so, I'm sorry, out of the Subaru now. Okay, so I have the engine out of the Subaru now. It's actually resting on a 1,000-pound furniture dolly, so I can move it around. I actually was able to get it out of the car myself. I just wheeled my transmission jack there up to the back of the car, jacked it up so it was even with the back of the wagon, and just, as heavy as it was, I just slid the engine right out onto the jack, pulled it back a foot or so, lowered it to the ground. It was actually pretty easy to do. So, it's out now. Obviously I'm going to have to do some work on this before installing and running it. The crank pulley bolt there has been loosened, so I have to obviously tighten that back down. The only one thing I've noticed that's completely missing is the distributor, but no, obviously I can just pull the distributor off the old engine, reuse that. Motor mount busted on this side, so obviously I'll put new motor mounts in to the carrier bar. Not a big deal. Exhaust is in absolutely supreme shape, and I'm seeing VW logos and part numbers on it. Especially if you look right there, I mean, that's a genuine Volkswagen muffler. So somebody spent money on this, unless it's original, which I doubt. Water pump obviously looks reasonably new, because it's not all corroded yet. There's a nut missing right there, so originally I was thinking about replacing the water pump, but this looks recently replaced. I'm not going to mess with that. I've got to pull the AC compressor and bracket off the engine. Thinking because I put the new intake boots on my other engine, I might just see what I can do about transferring the whole intake as one piece. Obviously, I'll be mixing and matching the best of the the air intake parts. I'm going to take all the coolant hoses off my engine. This pipe here, I suspect I'm seeing a little bit of rust right there, even though the rest of it looks okay. I want some more rust right here. So that's probably gonna leak. But once again, I have an almost brand new pipe on my engine. I'll transfer that. Looks like they did, maybe for experimentation, loosen the fuel injectors on this side, but since I put new seals on my injectors and everything a couple years ago, I'll transfer all of that over, with the intake, if I can do that. Genuine Bosch spark plug wires, although I'll probably use the ones off my engine because they're also, Bosch and fairly recent. The only one thing I'm thinking of, one of the few things I'm thinking of buying absolutely brand new right now are brand new spark plugs, because I'm not 100% sure how old mine are, because I think I replaced the wires more recently than the plugs, and these here are a complete unknown. So all in all, I'm very happy with this. It's going to need some work. Obviously I'm going to have to take the flex plate off and transfer my my flywheel and clutch from my old engine, and it's going to need a good cleanup all around. It is a very dirty engine, but it's not a big deal at all. So I'm excited. The van is going to run once more. This will be one of the biggest projects I've ever tackled, but I haven't failed at one yet. And the great thing is, it's not a conversion. It's an absolute one-to-one swap. So shouldn't really be any surprises there. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and I'm going to be getting to work on this probably next weekend. Just a quick epilogue here. I've got the engine into the garage now. Wasn't so bad. Like I said, my wife and I, we got the engine transferred onto the furniture dolly, and that actually wasn't too bad a job either. The most important thing with using the transmission jack for this and the dolly is just being careful not to drop the engine on your foot, because you'd end up with a broken foot. So, thankfully, I still had enough of a gap there between the van and the garage door, and I'm talking about just barely enough to wheel the engine through pretty smoothly. Actually, all I had to do was just pick up the pile of junk that was sitting right here and move it over. I really wish I kept a cleaner workspace, but things just pile up on me and get cluttered. What happens is, usually it gets to be the end of the weekend and I'm done with a job, and it's time for Sunday night dinner, and I've done I've been working on whatever project it is all day, and I'm just kind of out of time and out of energy, so I figure, okay, I'll clean up next time, and it never happens. Usually I end up cleaning the garage after a major project, and it looks good for about 5 minutes, but that's neither here nor there. So the engine's in the garage. I'm going to start ordering stuff, get to work next weekend, and not sure if I'm going to start pulling the old engine next weekend, but we'll see how that goes. Obviously some stuff needs to be transferred to this engine to get it going. And I'm undecided as to whether or not I'm actually going to back the van out of the garage under its own power or pull it. If I pull it, I might just get a chain, hook it up to the Subaru, and yank the van out of here. The engine that's still in the van will start and will run, but it can't be driven anymore. It's not holding oil pressure, and with the loss of power and the cloud of black smoke I got back in October, I'm just guessing that there is bottom end damage. So I don't know if it's as bad as a spun bearing, but whatever it is, I can't use this engine anymore unless it's rebuilt. So this is what I'm working with for now, and I'm excited to get it back on the road now in weeks as opposed to possibly years, and I'm still going to save for an engine swap. Actually, I may as well tell you, I bought this engine from the folks over at Boss Tig, and what they do is they have fully engineered a conversion to drop the Ford Focus Z-Tech engine into the Vanagon, and it's definitely the most unique conversion out there. I've actually known they're not close friends or anything, but I've known them as acquaintances for years, and I first learned of them because of their engine swap. And I just have to tell you, seeing their hardware in person, I mean, their conversion kit is top-notch. It does not get better. Because unlike, the Subaru swaps and other VW engine conversions, one to the next, it's the same, and it's engineered ground up. You don't have to do any fabrication. Everything's there, including a brand new wiring harness, and their conversion really does perform on the road too, and it's reliable. I mean, it's as good as conversions get. And I know that for months now I've been talking about dropping a Subaru EJ22 into the van because I know the EJ22 so well, but every time I see the Boss Tig stuff in person, I get really tempted to do that one again. And once again, because there's no fabrication involved, and everything, all the Boss Tig parts that are unique to the kit, they're really heavy duty. It's really heavy duty stuff. None of it's flimsy. None of it's little. None of it looks like it's gonna break. I mean, I can't say it any better than this. Conversions just don't get better than that one. There's no guesswork involved. It's fully documented, and they take it seriously. I mean, I don't know. I've never met anybody who's professionally doing the Subarus or other engine swaps, but the Boss Tig guys, they're absolutely scientific about the whole thing. There's no There's no guesswork, there's no working by feeling, they have data to back everything up. And so, highly tempted to do that conversion again, even though I don't really know the Z-Tech engine at all. There's so many positives there, even though it is a more expensive engine swap. I mean, no question about it. To do that conversion will cost more than to do a Subaru conversion, but it's not twice as much. But the reason is, once again, no fabrication, no guesswork. Everything's there, and I've seen them perform on the road. I got to ride in one years ago, and it's just, they've done an amazing job with it. So, highly tempted to do that one again. But for now, concentrating on just doing all the little details on this waterboxer and installing it into my van here and being able to drive and enjoy show season and camping season again. So that's all for now.